Mellow was in her office trying to get the week's rotas to make sense when there was a knock on the door and Sergeant Fleet looked in. "Boss," he said, "the super says the chief super wants a word." She looked up from the worksheets strewn across her desktop. "And is there some reason why Superintendent Todd couldn't have told me that himself?" Fleet started to reply, but Mellow held up a hand. "Don't bother, I can guess." Her immediate superior was an enthusiastic exponent of delegation, and his first instinct on being told to deliver a message would have been to get someone else to deliver it for him. "Did he say when?" "Right away." Fleet looked apologetic, even though none of it was his fault. She sighed and looked at her paperwork again. "All right, Peter," she said. "Message received." She gathered the sheets together untidily and locked them in a drawer of her desk. "Let's see what the chief super wants, then." The original headquarters of the Thames Valley Police Force, out in Kidlington, had been abandoned in the earliest days of the long autumn, and everything of use brought into Oxford. At almost the same time, the old Central Police Station on St Aldate's had been rendered uninhabitable by a gas explosion and fire, so the remains of the force had commandeered a recently abandoned office building and made their headquarters there. There was no one alive now who remembered what it had been in the final days before the coming of the sisters. Mellow suspected that its purpose had ceased to exist the moment the comet fragments rained down all over the world, that no one now would understand what had once been done here. Still, it was warm and dry because a big wood-burning boiler had been installed in the basement to power the radiators, and it had electricity because of the little grove of wind generators mounted on the roof, and the canteen was just down the corridor from her office, so things could have been worse. Some of the city's outlying police stations had still not been properly renovated and were miserable, cold, mouldy places. The lower floors of headquarters were bustling with support staff and plain-clothed detectives, and the occasional constable and sergeant in their black uniforms. But as Mellow climbed the stairs towards the 5th floor, she saw fewer and fewer people, until she emerged in executive country and found it deserted. Almost deserted anyway. She stopped at a door bearing a plaque with Chief Superintendent Maxwell painted on it, paused a moment to make sure she'd got her breath back after the stairs, knocked and went in. In the outer office, Lucy, Maxwell's secretary, was sitting at her desk. Mellow had no idea quite what Lucy actually did. On the very rare occasions that she'd been called up here, the secretary's desk had always been completely bare, as indeed it was this morning.